Hey there and welcome. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. And also don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoy this tutorial, please give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. So today we're going to make 4 different Valentine's decor. The first one is pretty simple. All you're going to need is one of these pink candle holders. You're going to add some E6000 to the top of your candle holder, and then you're going to get one of these glass vases, the long cylinder ones, and you're going to add it onto the top of your candle holder. Now you can leave it this way and be done, but what I decided to do was go ahead and grab one of these glass bowls that you can get 4 of them in a pack. I flipped it over and I added E6000 to the bottom of that bowl, and then I added my vase on top of that just to give it more height. Go ahead and set that aside and allow it to dry. Now I'm going to use some of the extra items that I had. I'm going to use this bunny bag, and then also I'm going to use one of these felt hearts that I had since last year for Valentine's. And usually they have these hearts every year, so I'm sure you're going to be able to find it. But if you can't find the bag for Easter, go ahead and grab 2 pieces of the same size of burlap ribbon and then glue those 2 together. As you see, I went ahead and cut a smaller heart out of that felt heart. I'm adding some my hot glue, and I'm going to glue that heart over the bunny face itself. Now, as soon as you glue it on, go ahead and open it up so you can know that it's not going to glue together in case that glue seeps through your bag. Now I'm inserting an empty roll of the ribbon, and that's what that comes in, and I just used that part. I just recycled it and I inserted it into my bag, and I'm just kind of using hot glue and just folding over the edge of my bag so it can cover up that rim. Now I'm using some jute twine, and I'm just going to glue it to the edge of my pouch. That way I can have the option to hang this up if I like to, or if I want to just go ahead and leave it standing on its own. I have that option. So once you're done with that, go ahead and set it aside for now, and then you get some skewer sticks. And basically what I did was cut them in different sizes. I really didn't measure them out, I just cut them, and I'm using 5 skewer sticks. Go ahead and grab that extra piece of felt that you still have from your heart and make a point or a triangle, and then you can also make hearts. And these little hearts and triangles are I'm going to use for the points of my arrows. And I also made a few of them with red ribbon. So just go ahead and use whatever you have. And here you see it's my pink heart and my pink triangle. And just glue them with hot glue on the top of your skewer sticks. Now I chose to leave my skewer sticks the color they came with. I didn't choose not to paint them at all, but of course you can paint them if you'd like. Now I thought they looked a little bit too plain for my taste, so I went ahead and grabbed some feathers from the boa, just cut them off, and using my hot glue, I wrapped some of these feathers around my arrows. Once I've glued them all down, I just went ahead and grabbed my scissors and gave it a little trimming, just so they looked nice and neat and didn't, the shape that I wanted the feathers to be. So basically you can add anything you like to your arrows. I also added I grabbed another feather and then just basically glued it onto the top of my skewer stick. And then I got the rest of the jute twine that came with the bag that I used for my hook. I also used to wrap around the bottom of my feather arrow. Can you believe Christmas is all over with? I can't believe it. I miss it already. I hope you guys had a great one. I also have a question, and let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys keep your Christmas decorations up for New Year's, or do you take some of them down and then add and incorporate New Year's decoration? I really don't ever decorate for New Year's, but I'm curious to know if any of you do. And if you do, let me know in the comments down below. That way I can keep it in mind and make sure that I do a few DIYs for everyone that does celebrate or decorate for New Year's next season or next year. So once you're done with your arrows, go ahead and grab your bag again. And this is completely optional, but I chose to use a little bit of glitter, and I just grabbed my gold glitter ribbon that you got during Christmas at Dollar Tree and just glued it around the top part of my pouch. But I didn't want it to end there, so what I did was I grabbed some more of that vintage lace and I glued it to the bottom of my ribbon, my glitter ribbon. And again, you can use any color ribbons you like, or any ideas you have or different ways to make this. Just feel free to do it your way. I'm just here to show you and inspire you of different ideas that I'm doing that you might, once you see it, think of a different way to do it or how to make it for your style in your home. So once you're done wrapping around the lace ribbon to your pouch, what I decided to do was go ahead and grab a few different color ribbons. To glue to the side of my pouch. Now I'm using some leftover red and white checkered ribbon that you got during Christmas time. I used some of the vintage and also some light pink and fuchsia pink. Some of the gold ribbon and a little piece of white glitter ribbon that I still had left over. Went ahead and just go ahead and tie them with anything you have, jute twine, or in my case a little piece of that vintage ribbon. Now I'm just cutting the edges or the ends of my ribbon so they can look nice and clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and set that aside and show you guys how I make a wired ribbon rose. So what I do is I fold it over the edge twice, then I fold that in half, and I just add a little bit of hot glue. Now you can start your rose right here if you'd like, but what I do is I fold that in twice again before I start making my rose. So just go ahead and fold it twice. Now you can I start making my rose, and basically what I do is I grab the ribbon and I turn it away from me. And then after I do 2 or 3 of these petals, I go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue and just make it as big as you like or as little as you like. Make it as loose as you like or as tight as you like. Basically, this is just the easiest way that I've found of making roses with my burlap or my wired ribbon, because you can use any kind of ribbon that you'd like. As long as it's wired, you can make one. And I've made them as big as using the entire roll for one rose. In this case, I believe I made it about 7 twists before I stopped. So once you're done, just go ahead and cut your ribbon. And now I'm going to show you how you finish it. So basically, I'm adding a little bit more hot glue to the last or twist, I guess you could say, that I did. Now you see your end of your point. What I do with that is I flip it over. So there's your point where you cut it, and you just flip it over just to give it that nice clean finished look. And here I am adding a little bit more hot glue, and just hold it for a few seconds just to allow the glue to dry for a little while. Now go ahead and grab your ribbons that you tied together. And what I did was I glued that extra piece of lace that I used to tie the ribbon together. I glued it to the top of my pouch. just like this. And I glued it to the side where I also put my hook on. So now I'm going to grab my rose that I just made and add a good amount of hot glue because I don't want this to fall and I want it to stay exactly where I glue it at. So I went ahead and glued it over the ribbons, and there you have it. An adorable bow and arrow pouch. So now what you're going to need is a bowl of rice, a sandbag, marbles, anything that you have that you want to use for your gnome. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of these bunny bags again and just add whatever you like, in my case rice, and just add as much as you'd like until you're happy with the size of that you have with your bag. So once you're happy with that, go ahead and grab a piece of jute twine or anything that you have to tie it together, and I wrap it around about 2 to 3 times, then I tie a knot. Just to make sure that that rice isn't going anywhere. Go ahead and set that aside and grab the yarn from Dollar Tree as well. In my case, I'm using the gray yarn, and I wrapped it around this 5x7 picture backing about 25 times. Go ahead and cut an extra piece of that yarn, and then you're just going to tie a knot to what's going to be the top of your yarn piece. Now go ahead and grab your scissors and cut the opposite side of where you tied it. And there you have it. Now you can grab a brush and brush it out and make it more like fuzzy, but I chose to leave mine this way. With that extra piece of yarn that you tied your ribbon together or your yarn together, go ahead and tie it around your bag as well. And then just go ahead, if you like, go ahead and give it a nice trim, just to make sure that your yarn is all the same size, or at least the same size as your bag. Next, I grabbed one of these kitchen towels from Dollar Tree, and now I'm just going to kind of eyeball and figure out how big or how long I want my hat. And what I ended up doing was making an 8x8 square for my hat. And so you can make about 4 hats with one towel. Now I cut it an 8x8 because I wasn't sure how I wanted my hat to be, or how I wanted it to make it. So if you don't know, just go ahead and cut an 8x8 piece of fabric. But if you do know and you want it to be a nice point at the end, kind of cut it in an oval shape. But this works as well. So what I did was add a little bit of hot glue to half of what's going to be my hat. And then I just glued it together, 2 ends together, just like this. And this is why I'm saying I don't know how I want to make it, because you can easily cut it to make that point at the end. Before I make my final decision, what I decided to do was go ahead and grab my bag and add a little bit of a row of hot glue and just glue down, I guess you could say, a few of the pieces of yarn, or the last bottom row of the yarn. And I did that in case anybody grabs this, they're not going to move the hair pieces around or beard and get to see that bunny face. That's the only reason why I did that. But that's optional. You don't have to do that part. So once you're done doing that part, if you choose to, go ahead and add what is going to be your hat on top of your bag. Now the simplest way is grab another piece of ribbon and just grab your hat together and then just tie a knot at the top and just let it fall. That would be the easiest way. But what I chose to do was I went ahead and cut my fabric or my hat in an angle to both sides, and then I went ahead and put some glue around the bottom of my hat, or the edging of my hat. I grabbed a bag from Dollar Tree, rolled it up, and then inserted it into my hat. And this is going to help it stand up and stay nice and pointy and still be soft and not be so hard. So now I'm going to go ahead and close the rest of my hat. And all I did was just add glue to one side and then flipped over the opposite side to glue them together to attach both ends together. Once you've glued your hat together, don't glue the end point together. Don't close it shut yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to grab another heart, and I basically cut that heart in half, and then I folded it together and then folded that in fours. So basically I'm folding it in fours, and now I'm going to make a smaller heart. And this helps you make them both even, and you end up making two hearts. I went ahead and grabbed some of that sheer pink lace and I cut it in half. With that small piece of ribbon, I'm going to glue it to my heart. One of them fell. So I glued that lace part that I cut into my heart and right in the middle. And then I added more glue to that bottom heart to add the top heart. Just like this. Now you can leave it as is, or you can add a little bow on top. What I decided to do was to get my fuchsia or my hot pink sheer lace, and I made it that way just to give it that extra color, because I felt like the other bow, that sheer pink, was too much of the same, so it kind of just disappeared and I wanted it to stand out. So I went ahead and used that fuchsia pink. Just made a cute little bow and added it to the top of my heart. Once I've added it to my heart, I just kind of gave it a nice clean trimming at the ends to make those points. Now I grabbed some scissors and I'm going to add that extra lace into my hat, just like this. And then I just decide how long I want it. Once I figure out how long I want that heart or that ribbon to be, I just went ahead and added some hot glue inside that opening, and then I just closed it shut. Held it for a few seconds to allow it to dry. And now you can shape your hat any way you like. Since that bag's in there, it'll stay pretty much the way you want it to. Now you can use a bead, or what I'm using is a Christmas ornament, one of those mini Christmas ornaments, and I'm using a gold one. And I decided to leave it that color. Just adding some hot glue around the edge and then holding it in still to make that nose. Just like that. So there you have it. A Valentine's gnome. Now you can leave it this way, but I decided going with that Cupid theme to make the arrow or the boa for this gnome. So what I did was get one of these Q-tips that has the heart on top, and I believe they come 100 or so in a pack from Dollar Tree as well. And I just kind of eyeballed the size I wanted, cut it off, cut it in half, and then I cut the heart out and glued it back to the bottom part of my toothpick. And I did that because I wanted that little point at the end of the toothpick that this particular toothpick has. So I grabbed some gold wiring, and you can basically move it back and forth and it'll break off, or you can grab some scissors or some pliers like I did and just cut it. And then I grabbed some of that gold glitter ribbon and I cut that ribbon in half as well. But before I do that, I went ahead and just grabbed something round, in my case this little paint bottle, and I just kind of shaped my wiring. And I shaped it to like half a circle or a U, just like this. And I went ahead and glued that glitter ribbon to my little wire U shape. And I just cut a piece of that ribbon off and just added a little bit of hot glue to both ends of the wire to add that glitter ribbon. Whatever extra ribbon I have, just went ahead and cut it off. Add a little bit of more hot glue just to kind of close that ribbon up, make sure it stays nice and clean and secure. And then I just figured out where I wanted my arrow to be on this boa. So I just kind of made it into an angle and then just added a little bit of hot glue to my wire and my toothpick. Held it in secure, nice in place, and then just added it to my gnome. Now I didn't add arms, so I just basically kind of figured where the arm would be or his hand, and then I just glued it on like this. And all I did was add a little bit of hot glue to the wire part of my boa and glued it on. And there you have it. So our fourth and final DIY today, I'm going to use one of these signs from Dollar Tree. Basically, I didn't feel like using sandpaper and taking all that glitter off. So I just flipped it over to the back side and painted it white. Now you can give it one coat or two coats. I decided to give it two coats. Once it was all nice and dry, just like this, I went ahead and I grabbed another one of my heart felts, the out exterior of it, because I used it for another project. And you're seeing that I removed some of the little miniature hearts. I'm using these glass arrows that I got at Dollar Tree as well. Now these I had since last year, but they always have them year round. So just go ahead and keep an eye out for them. Mine are broken in half, which is okay because for what I'm going to use it for, it's fine. So if it's not broken in half and you get these arrows, go ahead and break it in half and then kind of figure out where you need to place your heart in order for your arrow to have enough space at the ends. So if you don't know, you can just grab a piece of these scissors or anything and cut the middle part of your arrow if you'd like. Also, remember to take the top coating part plastic off of your arrow in order to give that mirror shine. And then just kind of add a little bit of hot glue to the ends of your arrow. Lift up that piece of heart that you glued down. Make sure you like where it's at and then press down your arrow and there you have it. Now I got these letters at Dollar Tree as well, but I don't want them to be this natural cream color. So what I did was I cut out all the letters that I'm going to use. Once I was done cutting all the letters that I'm going to use for this sign, I went ahead and decided to use my pink paint from Apple Barrel and also some red paint from Waverly Chalk Paint. And I'll leave the exact colors down below. So here are all my letters. And I'm just going to grab a small paintbrush and just paint them. And I'm just giving it one light coat so they'll dry. By the time I'm done with all of them, basically they'll all be dry. So just go ahead and paint them any color that you like. Again, I'm painting mine with the Apple Barrel pink. And then after I was done painting them all pink, I decided to go ahead and get some of this red paint from Waverly Chalk Paint. And just a little bit of this red paint goes a long way because I didn't want it to look red. I still wanted to see that pink, but I wanted to give it some of that. I just wanted the letters to stand out. So this is the way I thought of doing it, so where the letters would stand out. Once I was done painting that red or brushing on that dry coat of red, I allowed them to dry for a while. And then I decided to go ahead and add the letters to my sign to spell out what I wanted to spell out. which is cuter than Cupid. Now, as you can tell, I ended up adding all my letters. Then I kind of didn't press on them or anything because I wasn't sure if that's the way I wanted them to stay. So I went ahead and decided to set aside my sign and grab some ribbons, basically the same color ribbons that I used, which is this pink wire burlap ribbon. And then I used that red and white checkered, the gold, the light pink and fuchsia. And I just cut them all in different sizes. Made a tail for my wire ribbon, and then the two pieces that I did cut out, I glued them basically into a circle. And then I folded them in half and then grabbed them together. And then I just grabbed a piece of that ribbon, the fuchsia ribbon, tied those two larger wire ribbons or bows together. So this is going to be the largest in the base of my ribbon. And now I'm just going to continue adding all the different color ribbons and bows that I made. To the center of my larger bow. And like always, I just glue them all together in different, twisting them, each one of the bows just slightly so it can kind of counterclockwise, and so it'll have a different design to your bow. So just kind of glue each, whatever color ribbons you're going to add, just start adding them together and adding them with a little bit of glue, or you can add them all together and then just tie them all together. That's basically up to you how you want to do it. Once you're done and you've added all your tails, just go ahead and clean up your bow and then glue it wherever you like. I decided to glue it to the edge of my sign, so I had to move all the letters again. Once I decided to move the letters, now is what I did. I added a little bit of E6000 with a paintbrush to the back of each one of my letters before I glued them onto my sign. And now I glued my bow to the top just using some hot glue, and here you have it. So here are my 4 different DIYs for Valentine's. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great New Year's and stay blessed. Bye.